If you have ever felt like you've been pushed out of a job, it may not be your imagination. Some bosses have been trying out a new technique called quiet cutting. Quiet cutting. They don't necessarily fire employees. Instead, they drop big hints. They are not wanted. Dr. Dietrich von Biedenfeld from the University of Houston downtown explains for us tonight.
It's one of these subtle ways to reassign workers. We all remember Milton from Office Space with his red stapler, and the idea that if you move someone farther enough into the background, if you take away their parking space, if you make it just a little bit uncomfortable, then they will leave on their own. No EEOC termination complaint, no wrongful termination lawsuits. They'll just eventually get so exasperated that you can turn the thermostat back down, move the desk back to the lighted floor, and go back about business as usual.
And there are some major companies doing this, right?
Many major companies are doing this. It's not something new. Some of these ideas have been around at least to preserve or prevent lawsuits from taking place, but also in the sense that you may not want a talented individual who isn't necessarily providing value on a team to go to a competitor. So it's cheaper for you in that sense to keep that intellectual property, proprietary information, training, skill, personality in-house. So whether it's Boeing, Apple, some of these major tech companies and manufacturing companies, or even companies now where we see with places like Ford maybe, or Tesla, where they say, hey, we don't want this expertise in electric energy or electric vehicle manufacturing to go to the competitors. We're just going to move you and find something for you to do to keep you from them.
Now, what we've heard is, and what you know for a fact, hiring someone is not cheap and firing someone is not cheap. When you hire them, you have to train them. That's money going out the door. And when you terminate them, then there's, in some instances, severance packages and unemployment and all of that involved. So if you quietly cut them, which they call quiet cutting, then the employer saves money.
Absolutely. And we know it's the recruitment. That means the advertisements. That means hiring potentially recruitment officials to go find the talent, to source it. Then the onboarding process. You're paying someone to be in meetings. They're not actually delivering value for the company as yet. So then after a couple of weeks of training, you actually get them in the job and you realize either they're not functioning in a way that's adding value to the company. The company's
simply put, Professor, they suck.
They suck in that environment.
Right.
They're a fish that can't climb a tree. So, it's fair. But yeah, terminating, now, many right to work states are not in the area of severance packages per se, but there is that concern that if you terminate someone after bringing them on board, they may go on one of these message boards and trash talk your company, then souring the pool for future applicants. They may try to find a lawsuit. And many companies, as we know, do a little bit of shady stuff. And this person has been exposed to these internal memos, these internal emails, which they can then take to the public or mention a toxic or hostile work environment. So there's lots of legal avenues for punished employees or people who feel slighted to come back at the company. It's going to cost them time, money, legal, and of course, potential embarrassment.
And how often do employees come back or get back at the company when they are terminated or easily pushed out or made uncomfortable?
We've got a number of different statistics. If you're talking about EEOC statistics, there's a waiting period. But I mean, there are hundreds of thousands of cases each year of wrongful termination, discriminatory treatment. This is not a small amount of money. That's why many of these plaintiffs' attorneys are driving around in their Aston Martins and flying on their private jets, unlike you and me riding our bikes to and from work. So there's some money in this. And so employers are aware of it. They've done the analysis and they realize, you know what, if we just get you out of the way, both we keep you from competitors, keep that knowledge out of the space, and then you feel like it's your decision. And so you have fewer grounds to sort of seek some sort of compensation from the company later on.